Good morning, everybody. This is Diane. I'm here working on these large Christmas journals made out of Better Homes and Gardens Christmas Craft and Foods books from 1980 and 1984. So these are really fun books. They're about, I think, 8 inches by 11 inches, so they're big. So I didn't have the covers put together when I did the video the last time. So here is the cover for this one, and I use this fuzzy blue upholstery type of, or decorator fabric anyway, that I got at the flea market this past summer. And I covered up the barcode with fabric holly leaves, added some pretty pom-poms. There was a lot of blue in the cover, and I used this blue fabric, so all the trimmings that I put on are blue. I think this is the last of my chenille fringe that I got from Sarah. And I added this, which I got from Eve in Switzerland. So it's really nice to be able to include gifts from my friends in the creations that I make. Inside is just some plain blue cotton. And this was cut from one of the book pages. There were a lot of these pages with the applique scenes. So these are two children making Christmas cookies. And I just cut it out and backed it with cardstock and just glued it to make a pocket. Over here, I took a photo sleeve from a photo album and I sewed it to a piece of vintage music paper for Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and I added one of the tags that I decoupaged. I am going to do a little bit of work on these pages on this video, just a little bit, and then I'm going to move on to building up these pages. So all I've done in this journal so far is make the cover. I love this plaid, and the piece wasn't quite big enough, long enough, so I filled in the space with the gingham, but I like that patchwork effect, and this will be covered with the pages of the book, but you'll see some of it, so I wanted it to look nice. Again, there's the photo sleeve with the wassail song, and this piece was cut out of a page from this book. Again, backed with cardstock and glued on as a tuck spot. And this one has some rickrack and some pom-poms. Neither of these pom-pom trims that I used on either book are vintage ones. But this, I don't know if this is vintage or not. I tend to think it is, but it came from Switzerland. Again, from Eve. These are really, really fun book pages, or book covers. I'll put these back in, and like I said, I do want to do a little bit of work on these pages. But first, let's go back to this one. I don't need the cover right now, but I want to maybe make a pocket for this. I showed this in the previous video where I had Mod Podged a napkin to this ledger folder. I'm not even sure where I got this ledger folder, whether I purchased it from an Etsy shop or if somebody gifted it to me. I had 3 of them, so I still have one left in my stash. But I had just Mod Podged this napkin to it, and then just this morning I added this trim, which I got at the flea market, and this pretty silvery trim. And I cut this out of one of the craft books and just use that as an embellishment. So I need to have a pocket to put this in. If I can make a pocket big enough that will still have room for this to fit. If not, I will just paper clip it. I might just do that anyway. But I do have these fabric pieces that I glued to cardstock and cut out. And I'm going to sew them, or glue them on as a tuck spot, one in each signature. I put a fabric, I'm going to glue this. Let's do this right now. Instead of sewing it, since it's already all sewn together, I'm just going to glue it in. Let's put a tuck spot on the back side of the book. I don't know if I want it on this page because there's a big pocket right there. Let's do it over here. So I will glue down this edge and maybe just those leaves, and then something can be tucked right in there. Let's try that. I would put something pretty plain in there to not detract from the flowers. Oh, upside down. This is going to get glued right there. Okay. I'm going to set this aside because that glue seeped out. I don't want it to stick to something. And I can put this on this page. I'll glue from here to here. Yeah. I did not glue up and down and up and down. I just glued the points. That way if something gets tucked in there, like a corner of it could poke out here. It gives you more room. Guess I'll put this one on this page. And I will glue this here and at the bottoms of these leaves so something can just slide right in there. There. It took me quite a while to cut these all out after I glued them to the cardstock, But at least the fabric part was already cut out for me. I didn't have to do that. All right. So if I do just paper clip this in, which I think I'll do, then I don't need to do a pocket for it. So I've got a bunch of stuff here that I will use to build up the pages in this journal. So it's kind of a mess because my space is very limited right here. You can see I have not cut all the papers to size. I will do that after I get my main pages built out. Then I'll see how much I need to remove from some of the wider pages. So I'm going to use these pages as a sort of guide to build these pages out. So this is just a small strip that I cut from the top of the pages. These are 12 inch by 12 inches, and I cut them down to 10.5 inches high. So there's about 1.5 inches right here. And that's pretty much the right size. If I just overlap it a little bit and sew that there, then it makes the page as wide as I need it. And with the stripe paper, it's handy because I can use the pattern on the paper to help me keep my piece straight. Paper scissors. I've got a bunch of little squares accumulating from cutting that off, so I'll have to use them on the edge of a page or something. And then on the flip side of that is one of the poetry book pages. So what I do here is I put this on the white side of the page until and place it so that the edge is even with the front of the page, with the piece that I just sewed on, like that. And this page happens to be white on that side, so it's just going to be white there. I could add some trim or like some edge cut paper or something there if I wanted to. But it's going to be a pocket. So I'm going to sew around here, and then this will be a pocket right there, a big pocket. You can see I'll still have to remove some of that ledger paper. the next page. What do I have to do? I'm going to sew a Christmas card to it. I had this one big Christmas card that I could use. And I just glued it on. I didn't sew it on, but I can put a tag in there. And you can open it up and write in there. But I don't have another one like that. I can use this, but I used one of these in that other journal too. It's on the back side of that. Oh, I just dumped my pages. Excuse me while I pick them up so they don't get all crumpled. They're all completely out of order because the whole signature just spilled all over. Okay, let's get back to this one. This one has a strip of paper on the back, so I'm going to do that first because that'll help me know where to line this up. Trying to make sure it's straight. Okay, so that's the back side, and on the front I'm going to put this card. And because I don't want the tuck spot to be, you know, like from the inside of the book, it would be awkward to get it in and out. So I could have it here like I did on the other card, or I could have it here. I think, just to be different from the other pages that are open back here, I think I'm going to have it open from the top. And I glued that other one on, so let's just glue this so we don't have red stitching all over the back of this page. I have to know where to put the glue too. Right there. I wasn't putting glue here, I was just lining this line up with that stopping point. It doesn't have to be up in the middle, I can move it wherever I want to. Well, I wouldn't want it up too high because I'll have a tag sticking out of it. Okay. Don't we have one more page in here? Oh, I skipped this one. Okay, so this one I will use the wide ribbon. Here it is. It's this wide ribbon, really nice quality fabric. I need my Tim Holtz scissors because it has wire in it. I tried to pull the wire out while it was still encased, while it was still in this long strip, but I couldn't do it. So I pull it out in smaller pieces because I don't like to have to cut the wire, but sometimes you just have to. Pull the thread too. Then I will just fold it in half. And instead of placing it up against the edge of the paper, it's not going to add anything to the width to do that, of course. I'm going to sew it to the edge of the paper and let this extend beyond. I do not want it to be open and puffy there, so I'm going to start and end by sewing the ends of the trim. I'm using zigzag. And just a little piece of paper again on the back side. Okay, that's one signature, right? Yeah. I do some other elements too. It's not going to all be the same thing. This is the signature that's spilled all over, but I can at least see what I did to those 3 scrapbook paper pages. I just don't have places to put anything. I have Christmas stuff everywhere. So for this, I am going to take that beautiful plaid fabric and make a ruffle. It was a fat quarter at Walmart, and it was $1.37. And I needed some Christmas fabrics that didn't exactly have a print. Like, this is a print, but I needed a more basic print, I guess, instead of a novelty print. So I got it, and I used it for the spine on this journal and for the ruffles, so it was a good $1.37. I'm going to cut off that white selvage, and I'll leave the rest of it. And I'm just going to sew a basting stitch, the longest stitch on the machine, right down the middle of this, with no back stitching. And because there's no back stitching, I am able to take a thread and pull it. And because the stitching is long and loose, I can just pull on the thread carefully. You don't want to break the thread. And just gather up the fabric. And then you can do it from the other end. I can gather the whole thing from both ends, but if you had a longer piece and had a hard time getting the middle, you can take a pin, flip it over to the back, and just stick your pin in one of the threads and pull it up. And you do end up with a loop of thread. That's why I said pull it, flip it to the back to do that. But I was able to pretty much gather it all up from both ends. Do this one. Okay, so then I will line this up on the paper so that the center where the stitching is just on the edge and the rest of it can hang off, and that will extend the page. And I'm going to sew it on with a zigzag stitch, just because for some reason I like to do gathered things with a zigzag. No other reason than that I just like the way it looks. I think my bobbin thread is almost gone. Yeah, it's gone. That's the end of it. So I'm not going to wind that on camera. But I will show you the other ways I will extend pages. I could let the ends of the fabric hang off if I wanted to. On the back side of this, I'm going to take a 6x6 page It's a cardstock page from a Christmas pattern book, you know, a Christmas scrapbook, but it's 6 by 6. So I'm going to, oh, you know what? This page I folded unevenly, so I had a longer, this page is the right length, the right width, so I didn't have this hanging off, and this page had a bigger gap, so I was able to make this pocket. But I'm gonna compare this to another page that's already done. So I know I can have it hanging off about like that. And I'm just going to glue this piece since I'm out of thread. And this one has a pretty stripe on the side, so that'll hang off the other side. You'll be able to see that. That is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a tag in the top of it. So I will just wipe the glue off. There. Okay. And I wipe the glue off the bottom instead of the top. Okay, let's figure this out. It's going to go over here. So I want the glue to go here and here. I did not go all the way to the end because it's going to stick off the page. Oh, I need it to go here too. Silly. Start right there. Go down. Aren't you glad I'm showing you how to do this? You see that I'm easily confused. Okay, so then I have this tag, and I thought it looked really cute with this pattern paper. It's a long repair tag with a napkin decoupage to it. I use matte Mod Podge to do that. And let me see the other things I did here so I can show you. There's the fabric again and the book page, the poetry page. So we've already done that. And the card. And I know I did one with a bingo card and I think one of those cards. Yep. So there's one with the bingo card. And there's a little tuck spot right there. You can see I just sewed it here and here and here. Oh, this one is fun. I'm going to show you. I can't sew it because I ran out of thread, but I had two of these pieces that came in a... Oh, this one I have to take a piece off of it. Came in a batch of fabric pieces from the flea market. And someone was obviously making a project that they didn't finish. Just using my seam ripper to take this extra piece off. So I will take a piece of scrapbook paper. Okay. I have a book jacket in here, and I just am using the flat part, and I'll be sewing down there, but I will have to fold over or cut that piece off eventually. So let's say I take this piece and add this piece to it to extend it, but I tuck this in just under where I'm gonna sew the seam. So when I sew that, I tucked it in quite a bit, so like maybe to the edge of the page, so I know I catch it in. And then you have that fun piece of fabric sewn in there, so I would just zigzag that right down there. And then I also used a large index card tab. It doesn't extend out very far because I wanted the tab to not be too far out, but you get a nice big pocket right here. I think that's everything that I did to extend pages. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing all the different ways you can make your pages a little bit wider. And I hope it wasn't too confusing as I dropped things and ran out of thread and put the glue on in the wrong place and all that stuff. But you can see that, you know, making journals isn't always, you don't always do things right the first time. So I'm going to finish, I'm going to put some more thread in my bobbin and finish extending these pages, and then kind of tidy up. Since I've got the pages all together, I can tidy up and really work on more embellishing. So I'll see you in the next video. I don't know how much you'll see of more of the process of these journals, but maybe there will be another video making ephemera and stuff to go in them. I will see you soon, and I hope you have a creative day today. Bye-bye.